My mother was famously known as the Butcher Beauty. She found my father severely injured and amnesiac in the mountains, then became his wife. When I was 5 years old, my father regained his memories. In an instant, he transformed into the young master of the Pingwa Duke's residence. Suddenly, a few lines of text floated before my eyes. The male lead finally remembers everything. Quickly get rid of that vulgar peasant woman. Your beloved is still waiting for you in the capital. How could someone as noble and pure as the male lead be tainted by that scheming supporting female character? No wonder he wants her dead. How dare this cannon fodder mother-daughter pair go and cause trouble for the beloved? What gives the mistress the audacity? Truly a pair of fools. I turned pale with shock and immediately told mother. That night, mother and daughter conspired together, determined not to play the role of doomed cannon fodder. If father wants to be a heartless scoundrel, we'll take the compensation and divorce him. With gold and silver in hand, we could hire 10 or 8 live-in sons-in-law to serve us. Mother and I were laughing merrily. Little did we know, father was standing ominously behind us. Abandoning your husband and father, how splendid. Do you take me for dead? Speak. Who put you up to this? The bun shop next door or the pancake stall at the street corner? Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. My name is Dao Dao. At 5 years old, I was the happiest little girl in Xinhua town. My mother was known as the Butcher Beauty of West Street, strong as an ox. She never lost a fight. Anyone who dares to bully me will get a beating from her. My father is the stern-faced teacher at the town's private school. Beautiful as a flower, she cooks a mean meal. She often holds me on her lap to read and makes me all sorts of delicious treats. I inherited my mother's immense strength. Among the children of West Street, I reigned supreme, a perfect life, effortlessly within reach, until the day my father regained his memories. Suddenly, lines of cryptic text called Danmu appeared before my eyes. Little fools still here drooling, unaware the Duke's secret guards are already at the door. The male lead has regained his memories and is ready to dump the cannon fodder mother-daughter pair to return to the capital and marry his sweet sister. That vulgar peasant woman took advantage of the male lead's misfortune to force herself on him. What a disgrace. No wonder she met such a miserable end. If that cannon fodder female character hadn't repeatedly gone crazy, flaunting herself before the sweet sister and competing for the male lead, she wouldn't have gotten her exit so quickly. I froze mid-bite of my candid hawthorn skewer. After regaining his memories, father wants to marry someone called female lead. Are mother and I the villains? Doomed to a tragic end as mere cannon fodder, without a moment's hesitation, I turned and sprinted home on my short little legs. Father is off duty today and should be in his study at this hour. I crouched my chubby waist and sneaked toward the window like a dog. Sure enough, voices of conversation came from inside. Young master, when do you plan to set off for the capital? I heard father's cool voice. In 3 days. You'll make the preparations first. The shadow guard spoke again. What arrangements should be made for the madam and the young master? After a moment of contemplation, father said calmly, naturally, we'll stay in Xinhua town, prepare more silver for them. I could no longer hear the rest of his words. That detestable father of mine was truly going too far. My face puffed up with anger like a blowfish. The barrage of comments began to scroll. The male lead is so decisive, between a country bumpkin and a county princess. Anyone with half a brain would know who to choose. If Lady Ju had obediently stayed put instead of going to the capital to court death, she might have kept her life. If the mother hadn't sinned, and if the female supporting character hadn't died, her daughter wouldn't have turned dark and become the vicious little villain. Madame Ju passed away. I suddenly snapped back to reality. Horrified, I turned and ran frantically to find mother. Oh heavens, this is terrible. In 3 days. Father will become a heartless man, mother will go to the heavens, Dao Dao will become an orphaned little cabbage in the field. Woo-woo, mother, come quickly and knock some sense into father. The Ju family has been butchers for generations. By mother's generation, her natural strength took this ancestral trade to new heights. Her butcher's knife danced with such formidable power. The pig didn't dare to squeal when brought before the butcher, obediently going to its death. Mother was an only daughter, skilled in her craft, and strikingly beautiful to boot. Even though she was straightforward to a fault, She remained the most sought-after maiden for miles around. So many suitors came knocking that they nearly wore out the Jew family's doorstep. Among them, 2 young masters, the one from the steamed bun shop next door and the other from the pancake stall at the street corner, were strong competitors. They had grown up with Amy Ang since childhood, always trailing behind her. Unfortunately, they were outdone by some unknown wild man from the mountains. That wild man was Adi, Mother told me. Back then, relatives from the village invited her to go hunting in the mountains. At the foot of a cliff, she found a filthy, blood-covered wild man clinging stubbornly to life. She carried him out of the mountains, gave enough silver to the clinic, and left him there. Mother forgot all about him. Who would have thought that half a month later, a handsome amnesiac young master would come looking for the butcher's shop? He remembered nothing, only that Mother had saved him. They couldn't drive him away no matter what. Of course, Mother couldn't bear to drive him away either. She had always been fond of beautiful people. My father, as it happened, had a face like a celestial being. He was also well-read, wrote beautiful calligraphy, and showed great tolerance toward Mother. Back and forth, affection grew between the two. Before her grandfather passed away, he arranged for them to marry. Clearly, it was Father who agreed to the marriage, yet the barrage of comments claimed Mother was repaying kindness with demands, clearly just making excuses for Father abandoning his wife and daughter. Don't think I'm too young to understand. Xinhua Town once produced a successful imperial examination candidate. After he went to the capital for the exams, he divorced his country wife and married his classmate's younger sister in the capital. This matter caused quite a stir back then. Everyone said he was the real-life Chen Shimai from those storybooks. I sniffled. Father regained his memory and wanted to become that capital city's precious sister's husband too. Peach, my dear, I'm about to become a fatherless wild child soon. After hearing my words, Mother got so angry she smashed her fist on the table, instantly shattering the wooden surface into pieces. Don't worry, Peach, whoever dares harm me, I'll beat them to death. She hugged me and comforted me with these words. Don't be afraid, your mother will handle everything. I'll go find your father right now. Mother was straightforward by nature, rising in a flurry to head straight for the study. The supporting female character truly is a silly fool, relying only on brute force and determined to humiliate herself before the male lead. In the end, the male lead was still soft-hearted, letting the mother and daughter off temporarily, only to leave trouble for the younger sister. Quick, let her go crazy. Better yet, provoke the male lead's murderous intent. Don't let her run off to the capital and cause trouble for others. Startled, my chubby little face twitched, and I hurriedly clung to Mother's leg. Mother, don't act rashly. Let's think of a way to deal with this first. Mother gave me a puzzled look. What's there to think about? Even if we tied your father up, would that stop him from abandoning us and going back to the capital? She was furious. Dare to bully me, Ju Rui. A beating would be letting him off easy. I scratched my head, and suddenly, a light bulb went off. Mother, I've thought of something. Let's strike first and divorce Father. It's not like Father wouldn't abandon us anyway. We won't fight for him. Let the little sister have him. This way, the little sister won't come to harm us. Mother and I won't have to go to the capital and become miserable cannon fodder. This is a great idea. We're the ones rejecting him first. Mother's eyes sparkled as she proudly patted my head, her voice brimming with pride. Our Dao Dao is truly clever, worthy of being Ju Rui's child. For the remaining days, we decided to give Father the cold shoulder. We just needed to find someone to draft the divorce papers. That despicable father can go live with his precious daughter by himself. Mom and I don't want you anymore. That night, Mom ignored Dad. She came squeezing into my little bed with her quilt. Dao Dao, tell me, what status does young master have? Is he even more wealthy and impressive than the county magistrate? Mother was somewhat curious. The county magistrate was considered a high-ranking official in the eyes of the townsfolk. Before I could answer, the barrage of comments began scrolling. What a country bumpkin. The Duke of Ping's estate is noble and prestigious, with ties to the imperial family. How could a mere county magistrate compare to the young duke? The threshold of the duke's estate is so high, even a butcher's daughter like the supporting female character couldn't hope to reach it. Wow, Dad is actually related to the emperor. My mouth slightly agape, I nodded blankly at Mom. I thought so too. I once saw a theater troupe perform this. Wealthy families look down on poor brides, usually paying them off with silver before marrying someone of their own status. Mom huffed angrily, then quickly rallied herself, raising her fist in determination. Once I get the silver, I'll hire 8 or 10 live-in sons-in-law to serve us both. Who needs your father anyway? A man who strays from the marriage bed isn't welcome in our Jew family. I shared her righteous anger. Mom was absolutely right. That young lady is a county princess. Just hearing the title tells you she's a girl from a wealthy family. Mother slapped her thigh excitedly. Once that housekeeper is gone, I can eat snacks as meals every single day. Clutching my chubby cheeks, I nodded like a pecking chick. Without Dad, Dao won't have to practice calligraphy every day anymore. Mom and I were quite pleased. Seems like this might not be such a bad thing after all. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect. Abandoning husband and father, you two are just wonderful. A sinister voice drifted from behind us, making Mother and me jump in fright as we turned around simultaneously. Our eyes met Father's, all 6 of them, his face as dark as the bottom of a pot. Did you think I was dead? Late at night. The brightly lit bedroom. Father sat solemnly at the head, his face expressionless. Speak up. Who put you up to this divorce? The bun shop next door or the pancake stall at the street corner? Mother and I shook our heads in unison, meek as quails. Father rarely lost his temper, but when his face turned cold, no one in the household dared breathe wrong. I secretly winked at Mother, signaling her to explain things clearly to Father. Misunderstanding my hint, Mother nodded knowingly and squared her shoulders. Husband, Dao has something to tell you. Me, Mother, you really didn't mean to, did you? Father narrowed his phoenix eyes and snorted coldly, twisting my chubby fingers. I confessed honestly about eavesdropping in the study. Jew Dao, you didn't even hear the whole conversation, yet you dare to spout nonsense. After hearing my words, Father kept rubbing his forehead. Mother couldn't bear Father raising his voice at me and shielded me in front of him. Husband, Dao isn't talking nonsense. Clearly, you're the one who's flown up the branch and is about to abandon us sparrows to go marry a wealthy phoenix in the capital. That's right, I chimed in. Hands on my chubby waist. Father, what nonsense is this? Father took a deep breath and spoke helplessly. I had planned to tell you all later. In just a few words, Father recounted how he had held crucial evidence before losing his memory, only to be ambushed by the Crown Prince's faction, Yinyang. The capital's situation is treacherous and unpredictable. If we rush there recklessly, I fear I won't be able to protect you and Dao adequately, and you might get hurt. Mother and I suddenly understood. After all this time, it turned out to be a misunderstanding, but the barrage comments were completely dumbfounded. What's going on? The male lead should have left them with a cold, indifferent back. What's going on here? Why isn't this following the script? How strange. The male lead is actually protecting the supporting female character. The male lead must be advancing by retreating, placating this mother-daughter pair to smoothly return to the capital. Mother returned her heart to its rightful place in her belly and patted Father's shoulder with bold assurance. Don't worry, husband, no one can harm you or Dao while I'm here. Come one, I'll kill one. Come a pair, I'll slaughter the whole nest. Let them all meet King Yama. The strength in her grip made Father's lips twitch. Remembering Mother's martial prowess, Father felt slightly reassured. I clenched my little fists, following closely to show my loyalty. Father, Mother and I will follow you to the death, unafraid to go to the capital. That's not how the saying goes. My father crouched down, sighed, and pinched my cheek. Dao, promise your father, don't follow your mother around listening to those vulgar operas so much anymore. All right. The girl was already simple-minded, and now she's acting downright foolish. With that, Father's handsome face turned stern as he looked at us. Let's settle today's accounts, Ju Rui. For following others blindly without thinking, 1 month's worth of snacks is deducted. Ju Yuning. For acting impulsively and spreading rumors, you're punished to write 50 large calligraphy sheets. Mother and I gasped in shock. How cruel. Mother grumbled in dissatisfaction. Husband, you're so mean to me, so mean I really want to hit you. I nodded vigorously. I also want to hit Father, but I don't dare say it. Father, I deeply felt that Mother and I were absolutely sent by the heavens to be his tormentors. Within just a few days, Xinhua town was abuzz with excitement. The handsome man that Butcher Jew's wife had picked up turned out to be a scion of a prominent family from the capital. Now that his memory has returned, he wants to take them back to the capital to enjoy a life of comfort. Meanwhile, the mother-daughter pair, rumored to have stumbled upon incredible luck, were already fast asleep in the carriage traveling through the night. Father had said his name was Xie Yuheng, the only son of Duke Ping. The Xie family was small aside from him. There were only Duke Ping and his wife. All matters in the household, big or small, were managed by my grandmother, the Duchess. Since we arrived at the residence too late last night, there was no time to meet anyone. Early in the morning, I got up and followed my mother to pay respects to the grandmother I had never met. "Mother, are you awake? Your daughter-in-law has come to pay her respects." The booming voice startled grandmother as she was combing her hair before the mirror. Unlike the carefree attitude of us mother and daughter, grandmother spent the night as if her heart were being fried in oil. The return of our missing father filled her with uncontrollable joy, but the thought of her unexpected country daughter-in-law being a pig butcher made her see black before her eyes. Before the incident, father was already discussing marriage arrangements with the county princess of Joan. Grandmother felt deeply aggrieved. Her emotions toward mother were nothing short of complicated, yet father had specifically instructed her to treat mother well. Distraught, grandmother waved us away, telling us to wait outside first. The leading senior maid came out and curtsied to me and mother. Her words carried an air of arrogance, seemingly intentional yet feigning indifference. "The mistress is still at her toilette. Please don't take offense at the wait, young masters. The Duke's residence has its own rules." Unlike the unrestrained freedom of the countryside, the barrage of comments began scrolling again. "Here she comes." The biggest shipper of the male and female leads, the Duchess makes her grand entrance. Even the maidservants looked down on the supporting female character. As a noblewoman from a prestigious family, Lady Wei would only be even more disdainful. The only daughter-in-law she favored was female lead. "Come on, Wei family. Hurry up and drive that cannon fodder mother and daughter out of the Duke's mansion." Turns out the other person was cursing. I rolled up my sleeves and nudged my mother, who hadn't caught the hidden meaning in the maid's words. "Mother, she's insulting us, looking down on us for being country folk." Mother's expression changed. We exchanged a glance. "Just do it, fight it out." In just a moment, the courtyard was filled with wailing and howling. Grandmother frowned slightly, stepped out to look, and instantly widened her eyes. "Stop it right now." The maids and nannies were being tossed aside like chicks, piled up in a heap. Just as grandmother was about to erupt in anger, mother and I stared at her dumbfounded, speaking in unison. "Mother, are you a fairy? You're even more beautiful than the immortals in paintings." "Grandmother, you're so pretty." The Jew family has always been susceptible to the charms of beauty. To have borne a celestial father like him, grandmother's beauty must have been unparalleled in the capital. Such blunt praise left grandmother's words stuck in her throat. She self-consciously smoothed her hair at the temples, cleared her throat lightly, and struggled to suppress the corners of her lips from curling upward. "I think my mother and I are quite good with words. When you're old, that's just how it is." With that, she glared at me and my mother. Such smooth talkers. "Come here already." When asked what had happened, mother immediately lodged a complaint. "Mom, they were being sarcastic and looked down on me and Dao. Father had given her stern warnings. Don't stir up trouble, but don't fear it either. If there's an issue, go to the elders." Grandmother's eyes turned cold, exuding authority without anger. "That ill-mannered wretch, drag them down and punish them severely. Banish them all to the estate, no matter what. Mother is still the mistress. How could she be humiliated by servants?" "Mother, you're so good to me." The pleas for mercy soon faded into the distance. Mother leaned against grandmother's side, her eyes filled with childlike adoration. Father was right. Grandmother is beautiful and kind-hearted, the most wonderful grandmother. I wholeheartedly agreed with mother's words. Grandmother was a wise woman who could distinguish right from wrong. The overwhelming praise was too much even for my grandmother, who prided herself on being socially adept. Her face grew slightly warm as she lightly tapped my forehead. "Enough now, stop sweet-talking your grandmother. A young lady should maintain some modesty." She then invited us to join her for breakfast. The meals of wealthy families are exquisite, with the only drawback being the small portions. not enough to fill the gaps between my mother's and my teeth. Under grandmother's astonished gaze, mother downed the entire plate of meatballs in one gulp. Hunger. Were you not fed enough before? Mother waved her hand. Mother, it's not my husband's fault. Dao and I were born with great strength and big appetites, recalling the earlier scene. Grandmother could only have more food served. Watching them eat so heartily, grandmother unconsciously ate more herself and couldn't help but ask, is this meal really so delicious? But it's not as good as what my husband cooks. I nodded in agreement. Mother cooked with rough hands. She could scrub a hole right through the pot while washing rice. To get a hot meal, father had to cook for himself. With mother's discerning palate, father eventually honed his culinary skills over time. Grandmother's chopsticks trembled. How could the precious young master know how to cook? But as mother listed father's signature dishes, grandmother's gaze shifted from pity to eager anticipation. So, worried that his wife and mother might not get along, father hurried home after finishing his official duties. The moment he stepped through the door, he was met with the sparkling eyes of 3 generations. Husband, for lunch I'd like cherry pork and rouge goose breast. Mother effortlessly recited the dishes. I still want to try the 4 happiness meatballs. Grandmother also looked at father expectantly. Father raised his eyebrows helplessly, not understanding how grandmother had been swayed too. Of course, the meal still had to be cooked. The young master couldn't escape his fate of being a kitchen hand either. Who told father to spoil him rotten in the first place? When the invitation from Prince Cheng's mansion arrived, I was being conscripted by grandmother to watch her manage household affairs. Mother truly wasn't cut out for such work. Grandmother was so angry it made her head ache, and she turned her gaze to me, a daughter-in-law as incorrigible as rotten wood. But the granddaughter must not be delayed any longer. The cultivation of a noble lady must begin in childhood. Listening to grandmother and the steward's talk, my head felt tangled like a ball of yarn. My eyelids couldn't help but droop heavily. Grandmother, is it possible that Dao isn't good material either? Until the nanny came in, saying the princess consort of Cheng was hosting a flower viewing banquet and had invited grandmother to attend. I heard the grand princess will also bring the county lady of John to the banquet. The county princess, that home-wrecking daddy's girl. I immediately perked up. After a long deliberation, grandmother decided to take us to make appearances in the noble women's circles of the capital. Prince Cheng was the most senior royal prince in the imperial clan, and the old princess consort had always been skilled in social engagements. Her flower viewing banquet naturally attracted a cloud of official ladies. On the day of the banquet, mother and I followed behind grandmother. Our eyes dazzled the entire way. The capital was indeed a splendid place, abundantly producing beauties. Don't look around, follow me closely. In just a moment of distraction, grandmother saw mother and me staring blankly at another noble girl as if dazed. She sighed deeply. I suddenly understood how difficult it must be for father, having spent some time together. How could she not know about our mother-daughter pair's weakness for beautiful faces? Thank goodness we're not men. This must be the esteemed daughter-in-law of the Duchess. The threshold of the Pingwa Duke's residence is truly extraordinary. The Duchess is most fortunate. At the flower banquet, the aunt of the current third prince, the Marchioness of Wuxuan, smiled meaningfully, her words seemingly laced with insinuation. The expressions around the table varied greatly. Everyone knew that when father returned after his disappearance, he had already married and had children in the countryside. Some had even heard through the grapevine that mother made a living by slaughtering pigs. Grandmother lifted her eyelids, showing no courtesy. Indeed, allowing those who spew filth from their mouths to step inside would only sully the gates of the Duke's residence. The Marchioness of Wuxuan's face instantly darkened. Her Highness the Princess arrives. Before she could utter a word of rebuke, the princess entered, surrounded by her maidservants. The delicate young maiden beside the princess, lovely as a hibiscus, was none other than her beloved daughter, the county princess of Joan, Su Hua. The Marchioness of Wuxuan shot a glare at my grandmother, curling her lips in smug satisfaction. Did she know that the princess had once intended to choose my father as her son-in-law? Yet now, father had married mother, a butcher's daughter. Wouldn't that be a slap in the face for the grand princess? Woo-woo, my precious sister. Come quickly and teach that female supporting character a lesson. Make her know her place. This plot has inexplicably gone off track. I'm really afraid our precious sister will suffer. Could that female supporting character have some system to steal the protagonist's halo? Otherwise, why is the plot favoring her? I don't get it. I blinked in a daze. My inner self was rolling around. Little sis, you're born so pretty, Tilda. Such a beautiful older sister. She must be a good person, right, after all. Bullet comments often talk nonsense. After sitting down, Suhualuo noticed someone sneaking glances at her. Following the gaze, she found it was a chubby, jade-like, snow-cute little dumpling, and the dumpling's mother. Caught in the act, the plump cub and her mother grew somewhat embarrassed. Hurriedly averting their gazes, one looked up at the sky, the other stared at the ground. Suhua couldn't help but chuckle. The Grand Princess glanced at Lady Wuxuanhu, her mind as clear as a mirror. The fine young man had been snatched up by someone else first. She felt regret, but not enough to blame others. With a kind expression, she began exchanging pleasantries with the grandmother. Seeing this, the crowd simply moved past the earlier minor incident. Only the Marquis of Wushuan's wife remained, secretly seething with resentment. Suddenly, a maid serving tea at the banquet accidentally spilled tea on Suhua. This lowly servant deserves death. I beg the county princess for mercy. Spare this servant's life. She frantically knelt down and kowtowed. The grand princess slightly furrowed her brows, while Princess Consort Cheng hurriedly tried to smooth things over. Summon someone to escort County Princess Joan to the side chamber for a change of clothes. The barrage of comments before my eyes began scrolling frantically. Oh no, little sister is in trouble. The plot's gone awry. The male lead didn't come to Prince Cheng's residence. Who'll save little sister now? This was supposed to be a crucial scene for their relationship to deepen. Could it be that the female supporting character has already teamed up with the third prince to harm our precious sister? No way. If the second male lead villain succeeds, our sister is in danger. What? Someone wants to harm our sister? My heart skipped a beat. Taking advantage of my small size and the lack of attention, I quietly slipped away from the banquet. I followed behind them. Sure enough, as we neared the waterside pavilion, the maidservant leading the way suddenly changed her expression. She reached out to push Suhua into the lake. At the critical moment, I charged forward like a little cannonball, knocking the maidservant off balance. Reaching out to grab Suhua, the maidservant probably never expected that the hero saving the beauty would be a short, stubby dumpling. She gritted her teeth, trying to push me down too. Who knew I'd sink like a little counterweight? Every bite of rice wasn't eaten in vain. She used every ounce of her strength, yet still couldn't have her way. Instead, I pinned him firmly to the ground with my full weight. Suhua also snapped back to her senses. She joined me in restraining the man. At that moment, a maid hurried over from the banquet, shouting loudly, "Something terrible has happened. The Lady of John County has fallen into the water." The Grand Princess abruptly rose to her feet, her sharp gaze sweeping across the assembled guests as she swiftly departed from her seat. A flurry of noble women and officials' wives immediately followed in her wake. To everyone's surprise, the Lady of John County stood perfectly unharmed by the waterside pavilion. I spotted my mother with sharp eyes and loudly tattled, "Mother, come quick, this person tried to push Dao Dao into the water." Upon hearing this, Mother was furious and came running like the wind, daring to bully my daughter. Do I not exist? Mother's hands moved faster than her thoughts. She hoisted the maid straight up and tossed her into the lake. Instantly, the surroundings fell deathly silent. Everyone was stunned by Mother's ferocious boldness. The noble ladies of Kyoto had never seen a woman with such formidable combat prowess. When action was needed, words were never wasted. Many households quietly added the newly appointed Duchess of Ping's daughter-in-law to their list of people not to offend. Who knew if provoking her might earn them a beating? Then, it will be their turn to be humiliated. Mother, seeing the Grand Princess arrive, Suhua couldn't help but tear up. The Grand Princess pulled her into an embrace to comfort her, her eyes icy cold. "Don't be afraid, your mother will stand up for you." As she finished speaking, the Princess Consort of Cheng hurried forward to plead for forgiveness. The maid who had delivered the message earlier had already been apprehended. Why on earth did she push the county princess into the lake? Further interrogation is required. The Prince Cheng's residence will surely give the princess an explanation. Su Hua calmed herself slightly before speaking to the princess. Mother, it was all thanks to the young lady of the Xie family, she saved me. Hearing this, the princess affectionately beckoned to me. Good child, come quickly to my side. I eagerly pulled my mother forward with me. Come visit the princess's residence in a few days. Let me properly thank you. The princess touched my face and said to my grandmother, this child is clever and kind-hearted at such a young age. The Duchess has raised her well. I shall remember this kindness in my heart. Grandmother shook her head and replied with respectful words, Your Highness flatters me. Young Ning is still a child, and it was only natural for her to reach out and steady the county princess in that moment. Such a small act hardly warrants such profound gratitude. The Grand Princess's smile was genuine. Madam, you are too modest. The barrage keeps scrolling non-stop. Oh my beans, it was actually the little cannon fodder who saved our baby girl. This plot is seriously 666, gotta say. I'm finding this little fool unexpectedly pleasing to the eye now. If this little fool keeps being good, our baby girl will definitely give her a happy ending. Thanks to the little fool, the third prince's plan failed, and the sister didn't have to be forced to marry him. You're the fools, your whole family is full of idiots, I fumed inwardly. I hate being called stupid more than anything. The barrage comments are really mean. The Grand Princess made plans with her grandmother to catch up another day. Then she took her frightened daughter and returned to the princess's residence first. Before leaving, Su Hua even crouched down to give me a hug. I must go visit the princess's residence. Facing this sweet and soft little sister, dizzy with delight, I agreed without hesitation. At that moment, no one noticed. In the pavilion by the water, a man with a grim expression clutched his wine cup tightly. It was none other than the third prince, born of the virtuous consort. The matter concerning Prince Cheng's residence, father knew immediately. Fearful that something might happen to us, he came to take us back to the manor. That very night, news arrived that all the captured maidservants had taken poison and died, though there was no evidence. Father had already guessed, it was the third prince's scheme. He wanted to marry Su Hua, the beloved daughter of the Grand Princess and the Marquis of Loyalty and Valor, all for the military power in the Marquis's hands. The current emperor is frail and sickly, with few descendants. His only adult sons are the Crown Prince and the third prince. The late empress passed away early, leaving the virtuous consort to dominate the imperial harem. The third prince's faction has long been ambitious. Father is the Crown Prince's first cousin. 5 years ago, father was ambushed and severely injured. It was because he had uncovered evidence in Linju that the third prince was secretly amassing troops and colluding with the northern border. Husband, just wait, I will surely find an opportunity to avenge you. The black-hearted prince dares to bully his own husband. Mother clenched her fists, wishing she could pound him into mincemeat. Father didn't know whether to laugh or cry. His phoenix eyes gentle as water. Then I'll have to rely on Inyang to protect me more in the future. Mother guarantees it. Absolutely necessary. If a woman doesn't cherish her own man, who else will? However, father never fails to remind us, in these troubled times, steer clear of trouble and keep your distance from the third prince. Cousin Su is truly unlucky to have caught that bastard's eye. Mother was indignant on Su Hua's behalf. Using a woman's virtue as leverage to force marriage is utterly despicable. I couldn't agree more. Grandmother had mentioned this before. After father went missing, the princess also arranged several marriage proposals for her daughter, but Su Hua's luck was truly unfortunate. Her first fiancé died suddenly in an accident, her second fiancé perished on the battlefield, the third fiancé drowned while providing disaster relief, were it not for the Grand Princess's formidable influence. The reputation of County Princess Joan as a husband killer would have spread throughout the capital. Now that I think about it, could it have been the third prince's doing? Driven by this suspicion, mother couldn't wait to visit Princess Manor to find Su Hua. Since the flower viewing banquet, mother and I have become frequent guests at the princess's residence. Mother's straightforward temperament unexpectedly pleased the princess. Su Hua and I became unlikely friends despite our age difference. No wonder the audience adores the little sister character. Who could resist getting close to such a gentle and kind-hearted beauty? Dao Dao certainly couldn't. After meeting Su Hua, mother and I blurted out all of father's speculations in one go. Thank you, cousin-in-law and Dao Dao, for going to such trouble on my behalf." In the pavilion corridor, Su Hua nodded gratefully. "Mother has also told me the same." After this incident, the Grand Princess had completely grown suspicious of the third prince. She began searching everywhere for his weaknesses. He must be taught a lesson. Seeing that Su Hua had everything under control, the mother and daughter relaxed and began nibbling on the pastries on the table. Su Hua pressed her lips together in a faint smile and pushed the plate forward. "These are new pastries from Beoxiang's. I thought they were quite novel." Mother took a few bites and found it quite good too. She casually mentioned the ingredients used in the pastry. Su Hua couldn't help but marvel. Elder cousin's wife truly has an exquisite palate. Mother didn't think much of it, it was innate. Inherited from my grandfather. Suddenly, Su Hua's eyes lit up. "I've made some progress regarding what cousin-in-law asked about the other day, after coming to the capital." Mother found herself with nothing but free time. Butchering pigs was no longer an option. She wasn't cut out for managing household affairs either. She'd been thinking for a while about finding some other work, and Su Hua, being a county princess, had seen much of the world. Mother asked her to keep an eye out. "Mother has given me the drunken immortal tower under her name to practice with. Cousin-in-law, why not join me as a partner?" Su Hua explained in detail. Mother felt somewhat embarrassed. "Cousin, I'm just a rough fellow, can't cook and don't know bookkeeping." Su Hua burst out laughing. "The stewards handle that. All you need to do, cousin-in-law, is taste the dishes and give your opinion." Mother and I exchanged bewildered glances. Doing business, the timid starve while the bold feast. It's not impossible to give it a try. At worst, I can always seek advice from Dad first. Mother readily agreed. Coincidentally, just a few days later came the Chishi festival. Su Hua invited us to watch the lantern show from the private pavilion of Zuaxian Tower. We would also get to sample the restaurant's signature dishes. Who wouldn't be eager for a good meal? Mother and I happily joined in. But this bit of fun landed us in trouble. On Chishi Festival, the streets flowed like rivers of lanterns. The entire city was bustling and resplendent. Amiang and I were like Granny Liu entering the Grandview Garden, utterly fascinated by everything. Grandmother knew we had an appointment with the county princess of Zhuan, so she didn't restrain us, as I happily carried my lantern and nibbled on a sugar figurine with my little mouth. "Long time no see." The barrage comments popped up. "Glutton girl, stop eating already. Aren't you the ageless bestie of baby sister? She's in trouble. Go save her. The villain is such a scumbag, always playing dirty tricks. Now he even wants to ruin her reputation." At this critical moment, why is the male lead absent again? I'm starting to doubt if they're really the official couple. The plot's falling apart. Seems the male lead only cares about the female supporting character and her mother, showing no affection for the sister character at all. Before I could react, sudden chaos erupted. "Run. There's a murder up ahead." A group of black-clad bandits had appeared by the roadside unnoticed. The already surging crowd instantly descended into chaos. Mother immediately scooped me up, plopped me onto her shoulder, and turned to look for Su Hua. But she found the crowd had already scattered them apart, with no trace to be seen. Fortunately, there were bullet comments. Mother took me by the hand, and with sheer force creating miracles, we squeezed through the crowd in a few swift moves. Guided by the barrage of comments, we found Su Hua cornered by thieves in a secluded alley. A man in black was pinning Su Hua down, trying to force something into her mouth, with lightning reflexes. Mother flung her hairpin like a hidden weapon straight at him. The black-clad man's palm was pierced, the porcelain bottle in his hand rolling to the ground. The rest of the gang turned their gaze, speaking viciously. "Nosy bitch, you're really asking for death." Su Hua looked up and noticed us, her voice trembling. "Auntie, run quickly. Let Mother come save me." MMPH. Mother told me to hide nearby, picking up a blue brick from the roadside house repairs. I charged into the crowd without another word, with the brick in hand. Cracking skulls was effortless. The burly men were first sent reeling by slaps as heavy as a mountain. The next second, with a loud crash, blood from their heads smeared across their faces. As they fell, they were still being pummeled by fists as hard as iron. "Spare us, mighty warrior, spare us, mighty warrior." The thieves, beaten half to death, wailed for their parents in agony. Fearful that a moment's delay would send them to meet the King of Hell, Mother snorted coldly and tossed them aside. She turned to untie the ropes binding Su Hua, cousin's wife. Su Hua clung to her mother, weeping like a rain-drenched pear blossom. Her mother patted her back gently. "Don't be afraid, cousin, it's all over now." At that moment, footsteps echoed from the alley's entrance. The man leading the group, clad in luxurious brocade, was none other than the third prince. Seeing this scene, his expression darkened. Third prince, here to play the hero again. How despicably shameless. Su Hua's eyes reddened as she spat out the words with hatred. "Cousin, you misunderstand." The third prince's face darkened, his humiliation at being exposed fueling his growing fury. He exerted considerable effort to stop the people from the princess's residence. Originally, he had planned to appear after Su Hua was drugged, indirectly facilitating the affair. Never did he expect these people to be so utterly useless. "So you're the third prince, the bastard who harmed my husband." Hearing the name, Mother's gaze turned sharp. "Bold woman, how dare you disrespect His Highness?" The guard at her side rebuked sternly. The third prince clearly recognized us as the mother and daughter who had ruined his plans last time. Mother chuckled, her fists itching for a fight. Disrespect meant nothing to her. Mother was still going to beat him up. Both sides had fresh grudges piled on old hatreds. Mother didn't waste words, she just went straight to action. Like a raging bull, she went all out. The third prince and his personal guards couldn't hold their ground at all. In the chaotic fight, the prince was pummeled until he saw stars, forcing my eyes open through the pain. I saw two faces, one large, one small, grinning maliciously before me. Several iron-fisted blows came crashing toward my face. The third prince spat blood, his voice dripping with venom. "Damn you, wretched bitch. Just wait, I'll have your entire 9 generations exterminated." Mother didn't care about the consequences. She picked up the porcelain bottle from the ground and poured the medicine down the throat of the terrified third prince. The remaining guards couldn't escape their fate either. "Cousin,"
severely, "this matter has nothing to do with the Grand Princess." The Grand Princess scoffed, showing no courtesy. "Fine words indeed. Who's to say this isn't just vengeance for that useless fool?" At the mention of the third prince, the Grand Princess's fury blazed anew. Su Hua had suffered this calamity unjustly. She could have devoured the offender's heart raw. "Grand Princess, don't push your bullying too far." The virtuous consort's expression twisted, her nails digging deep into her palms. "These words, I return to you in kind." The Grand Princess's gaze was sharp as a blade. "Even a clay figurine has its temper. She's no paper tiger to be repeatedly bullied." The Grand Princess flicked her sleeve and turned away, leading my mother and me out. Before leaving, the virtuous consort fixed us with a venomous stare. Her eyes seemed laced with poison. "Good times don't last 1,000 days, nor flowers bloom 100 mornings. Let's see how long your pride can last." Soon after, the emperor fell gravely ill and was confined to his bed. Meanwhile, the northern frontier sent urgent warnings, and father was ordered to march to war alongside the Marquis of Loyalty and Valor. Seizing this opportunity, the third prince allied with his uncle, the Marquis of Wushuan, to stage a palace coup. The virtuous consort had all the officials' wives and children in the capital taken hostage within the palace. "Didn't you give birth to a silver tongue? Why so silent now?" She stood towering over mother, her gaze brimming with vindictive satisfaction. "Afraid I'll cut out your tongue to feed the dogs?" Mother suppressed her anger and pretended to be afraid, because father had said not to act impulsively, but to follow orders. "And you too," seeing mother lower her head. Consort Xian grew smug, her crimson nails grazing Su Hua's face. "You think you can put on airs just because of your family background? Marrying my son is your good fortune. You shameless little wretch. When my son ascends the throne, you won't even be worthy of tying his shoes." Su Hua closed her eyes and remained silent. Instead, it was her mother who couldn't hold back and spoke up for justice. "Just because you're old, does that mean you can talk nonsense? Your son is a cowardly scoundrel. Being noticed by him is the stuff of nightmares. How about you take this good fortune for yourself?" A sudden snort. Someone couldn't hold back their laughter. Then it spread like wildfire. The virtuous consort was livid. He drew the sword from the guard and swung it at mother. At that moment, a whistle sounded outside the hall. Mother's eyes lit up as she effortlessly broke free from the ropes. With a swift motion, she snatched the sword from the noble consort's hand. "I've had enough of you for a long time." The noble consort staggered back from the force of the blow. Meanwhile, the eunuch guarding the door came tumbling in. "Your Highness, disaster has struck." the loyal and brave Marquis has entered the palace to protect the emperor, and the third prince has been defeated. The situation reversed in an instant. Consort Xian's face was filled with disbelief, her eyes wide open. How could that be? Mother cut through the restraints on Su Hua and the others with her sword. My husband is no fool. Knowing your wolfish ambitions, he was prepared long ago. With just those barbarians from the northern borders, they think they can hold him back. What a joke. It wasn't that mother was being arrogant, she had heard it from grandmother herself. Even in his youth, when father followed grandfather, the Duke of Ping, onto the battlefield, he could already crush the enemy like sweeping away fallen leaves. This time, with the Marquis of Loyalty and Valor by his side, cutting down foes would be as easy as slicing melons. The virtuous consort's face was twisted with venomous resentment, refusing to believe her downfall was inevitable. Like a madwoman, she ordered the guards to slaughter us all, even in death. She'd drag others down with her. Amidst the chaos of battle, the virtuous consort seized a dagger and plunged it into Su Hua's back. Watch out, cousin. In desperation, mother grabbed the guard in front of her and hurled him forward. The virtuous consort was knocked unconscious on impact. Su Hua swiftly dodged to the side. Mother pulled her behind in one swift motion. Are you all right? Su Hua shook her head gratefully, looking at mother with admiration. This is so sweet. This development seems great too. The female antagonist and the younger sister aren't competing for men, but instead becoming besties. Why fight over a man to the death? Three-legged toads are hard to find, but two-legged men are everywhere. Honestly, this supporting female character is quite reliable when there's trouble. She really steps up. Let the plot go off the rails. Let the male lead and the supporting female character's mother-daughter duo love each other all they want. Our precious girl will shine on her own. She'll surely meet her true love someday. Sheltered among the women, I couldn't help but nod in agreement. For the first time, I found the barrage comments actually pleasant to hear. Soon, the rebels in the hall were subdued by the reinforcements. When father came to fetch us, it was just at the break of dawn. Mother looked at the sky and smiled at us. Today is surely going to be another fine day. After the palace coup, the emperor passed away, and the crown prince smoothly ascended the throne. The new emperor, with swift and decisive measures, purged the faction of the third prince. All those involved in the rebellion were beheaded, with their 9 clans exiled. The turbulent court gradually stabilized. Father was promoted in rank and position, earning mother an imperial title. Mother also threw herself into learning how to conduct business with great enthusiasm. As the younger sister and the newly crowned top scholar took a liking to each other, the two happily tied the knot. The occasional bouncing bullet comments also disappeared. I remained the apple of my parents' eyes. Our family of 3 became the model household envied by everyone in the capital. Of course, Dao Dao, why haven't you finished writing your big characters today? Come here quickly. No slacking off. If only children didn't have to practice calligraphy, the household would surely be much more harmonious. I cupped my chubby cheeks and sighed as I turned back. To compensate my poor suffering little hands, I decided I must devour 2 extra bowls of rice at dinner.